Hi, welcome back to week 7. Last video I did was related to JavaScript functions. I think I kind of went pretty quickly off the end here in terms of variable scoping for JavaScript. And we were talking about local versus global variables. So I don't know how many of you had a chance to try to figure it out, but I'm going to walk it through so you can understand the different levels of scoping for Java variables, or you can call it visibility or whatever. But hopefully with an example, I can show this pretty quickly, right? So you see the code here. Anything outside of this function is considered a global variable, right? So if I'm calling, let's say this is the main code up here, and I'm calling this function, anything I declare up here is going to be global variables. And then anything in here in your functions are local variables. So what I did was over here, I basically took this code and put it into here. So here's your function, calc beta, ABC, and then here declare variable xy. Okay, and then out here, this is the global section. I declared x, y, and z as variables as well as the answer. Okay, and then I said answer equals to calc beta x, y, and z, and then I did a document write to say what's the answer, what's x, what's y, and what's z, and that matches up to this. All right, what is this? So I think once I run this, I'll be able to talk it through and show how this is an example of different types of visibility between global and local. Okay, so let's run it. I think I already ran it before actually. So you can see the answer here, right? So answer is ANS is 13, X equals to 1, Y is 2, and Z is 7. So let's see why is that. Okay, let me try to squeeze these two on the same screen here. Okay, so the answer is the answer, right? So this is the answer. I called this function with 1, 2, 3, right? X, Y, Z. I passed these in as arguments, 1, 2, 3. And then they come into the function as parameters, 1, 2, 3, right? A, B, and C equals to 1, 2, and 3. Then notice this is the part that helps you to understand the visibility between the local versus the global, right? So now we declared within here var x, y, and z. Within the function calc beta, this x and y is different from this x and y. Okay, so now I declare the x and y, but I don't have the z, right? So what does that mean? That means this z here, z equals 3, is valid. It's being used within this function. So you remember what I said before, where the top part is the main, that variable can be seen all the way down to any of the functions and subfunctions. But if I declare something at the function level, it can't percolate back up, right? It could only be seen within that function. So this kind of makes it pretty clear then. So first, what is the answer? ANS, that's returning x plus y. So what's x plus y? So that's this, 2 times 1. And then y is b plus 3 times c. So what was c? C was 3. So 3 times 3 is 9. And then what was b? It was 2. So that was 11. Okay? And so that's why you got 13, right? So this was 2 plus 11. That became ANS. And that's why ANS is 13. Okay? Then let's go to the visibility part. So x and y was 1 and 2, which is this and this. And that's just proving the point here that obviously x and y are not 1 and 2 over here locally. And so by printing it up here, right, you see the printing up here, it's 1 and 2. It's showing how these variables stayed valid once I come back outside the function. Okay. Now the other thing is you can see z is equals to 7, and what that's showing is that, see, I said z equals to 3 up here, but then within this function I changed z equals to 7, and that came back out because this update was applied to the global variable, not to the local variable. Okay, so this is the part you need to pay attention to. right? So definitely for the exam, you're going to see something like this. All right, so please try to make sure you understand this, right? If you have any questions about this, just let me know. Okay. All right, let's step through for these, for another example here. This is to set up a simple function. All right, so this part is just to set up the style, which I went ahead and did. So let me come back to here. And you can see I just basically set up this style here. So I just typed this guy in all the way down. Okay. And then here we set up a little function called simple. It doesn't take in any parameters, or it doesn't have any parameters, doesn't take in any arguments. And it does basically hard-coded a formula here. And then it has a text box. It says text box. So I did something similar, but I just did an alert. Okay, so this is declaration of the function, right? Within script, declared the function simple, does a calculation for answer, ANS, and then I did an alert of ANS. Okay, so once you have that, then you have to call that function. So how do you call the function? So here you have the call function, you have the input type, and this text box. So like I said, I replaced this text box with the alert box. So then the next part is the button. You just do the button, you call it calculate, and you do on click, you call the function. So that's what I have here. So I did the calc, the button ID is calc, on click simple, which is the function up here. And then I have calculate. Right, I don't have the text box because I just want to show the alert right here. And you can see it's 11. Okay, so it's 5 times 2 plus 1, that's 11. And there you go. All right, so that's it for this one. Short video, but important point about the variable scoping. So do try to take notes on that and remember that for the exam. Okay, I'm going to run through some of the other functions a little bit later on. Okay, thank you.